Look, you don't need to go viral. What you need is a strategic game plan to expand your brand on social media. And the benefits, baby, they're priceless. And we're not just talking about growth in followers, we're talking growth in revenue and growth in impact. Because when you expand your reach, you expand your impact, and baby, you expand your bank account. So if you've been feeling stuck with how you can grow your brand on social media, then this masterclass is gonna be so good for you. Stay tuned. Hey, I'm Chanel the Brand Hustler, and I help women build bomb brands so you can launch, grow, and scale with ease. And in today's video, I am going to take you behind my screen in a masterclass format because I want to help you expand your brand on social media. And if you're like, okay, well, I'm just getting started on social media, will this help me? Yes, it will, because we got to establish before we expand. And in this unique masterclass that I've never shared before online, I am actually going to be breaking down real raw strategies that I would teach you if you were a client of mine. These are strategies I used to hit my first 10K on Instagram, to get monetized on YouTube in just 4 months, and to hit 20K on TikTok in about a month and a half. So grab your notebook because promise me it is going to be good. I'll see you behind my screen. Welcome to Behind My Screen. We are going to be talking about establishing and expanding your brand with the power of social media. Now, if this is your first time to my corner of the internet, hey, once again, I'm Chanel Q, and I hope that you subscribe to my channel because I drop branding gems like these all the time, every single week. Now, because it may be your first time here, I got to go through a little bit of my credentials so that you can understand why I'm about to teach you this and where this even came from. So I'm a brand strategist and a launch expert. I've been helping digital and product-based brands since 2019. I'm a YouTuber, obviously, and content creator with over 160,000 people within my audience. That's actually close to 200,000 now. But I also own a graphic design agency, so consider me a brand and visual identity specialist because I am trained and certified, okay? And I actually am the founder of BCEO, where I have a private mentorship community for those women who need strategy and support while building their and multi-six-figure brands. And I have been blessed to be able to partner with some of the biggest brands and tools for products and for brands, period, on the internet right now, with my top 3 being Shopify. I am a Shopify partner. I am a Canva Pro affiliate, aka a Canvassador, and I'm an OmniSend partner and also a Klaviyo partner as well. And let me tell you, I know a lot about all of these tools. Now, let's get it started with this masterclass. If at any time you want to check out any of my social medias, I am at the Brand Hustler literally everywhere. So go follow me, tap in, engage, do all the things. But you are here to learn how to establish and expand your brand on social media. So let's get into how I was able to do this first so that you can see the proof in the pudding. So I had a shoe boutique that I started while I was in corporate America. So I was running my shoe boutique at the same time in corporate, and I was seeing a lot of success with it. I branded myself very well visually. I went to a lot of events. I did a lot of event marketing. I did a lot of social media marketing, and I was able to grow to 1,000 followers. I think it was roughly in like 2 to 3 months, which back then was really, really good, right? And so I ended up leaving that corporate job, which I'll put a video somewhere here with my full entrepreneurship story because this is like the fast track. But I then founded the Brand Hustler in April of 2019 due to God telling me to use my gifts to help women and, I see you men, some men do watch my videos, women and men build and expand their brands as well. And so once I made a decision to start the Brand Hustler, I had to do some research because in corporate marketing, which is what I had a job in, we would always use LinkedIn and Facebook. And so I was thinking about it and I was like, well, when I had my shoe boutique, I was using Instagram because that's where my audience were. And I was meeting a lot of small business owners, quote unquote, small business owners who also were on Instagram, and they loved the ability to be connected with the founder and creator of the brand who they were getting their products from. And so after doing some deep research and analyzing the market, I chose to brand myself on Instagram as my first platform. Okay, I knew it worked for my shoe boutique. I knew that's where the small business owners were, and that's who I wanted to help. So I went on Instagram, and then my Instagram brand actually fueled my business, allowing me to make 50% more than my old salary by end of year 2019. Okay, which was incredible because in less than a year, I literally made more than my salary. But I didn't get stuck in the Instagram bubble. After hitting 10K on Instagram, after I can't remember exactly how many months, but after hitting 10K on Instagram, I decided to expand my brand by diversifying my social media platforms. So in 2020, I ventured onto YouTube, literally on the cusp of the C word. I ventured onto YouTube, and shout out to God because that daunting leap of faith paid off. So I was able to get monetized within 4 months. And back in 2020, the monetization rule was you had to have 1,000 subscribers and you had to have 4,000 watch hours. Now, just in case 4,000 sounds small to you, 4,000 watch hours means that I needed people to watch 240,000 minutes of my content. Okay. Some people have YouTube channels for years and never get monetized. I got monetized in 4 months, and 3 months later, I hit my first 10,000 subscribers. I did in 3 months what some people take 3 years to do. The next year, I kickstarted my TikTok account and I got a little over 20,000 followers within a month. So, what I want you to pay attention to, the first gem, is that I didn't come and try to attack every platform all at the same time. If you are just starting your social media journey, or if you are revamping your social media journey and you are overwhelming yourself with trying to be on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, stop, take a breather, and figure out where your audience is the most and go to that platform first. So when I did my research and I found that Instagram was where my audience was at, I went there first on purpose, okay? You want to be intentional and strategic, and you don't want to burn yourself out. Not only that, but it's important for me to mention that although social media is one of the fastest ways to build your brand online right now, social media isn't the only way to build your brand. And if you lock into this channel, which you should, hit the subscribe button. And if you decide to work with me in any capacity, whether that means getting a course from me, joining one of my communities, my programs, whatever, you will learn a bunch of other ways that you can build your brand without relying only on social media. But this video is about social media. So we are going to get into the social media gems that you clicked on this video to learn. So now that you know my journey, let's talk about how you can replicate this type of success for your own brand. This works whether you have a digital product like I do, whether you have a physical product like I did, or whether you're a service provider who wants to transition into products like I did. Okay, I am all three of you. Whoever you are, I am you. So put whichever one you are. Do you have digital products? Are you somebody selling physical products? Or are you a service provider like a hairstylist or esthetician that's looking to really get serious about their product brand this year? Put it in the comments and let's chat it up. Tell me a little bit about your brand and let's chat it up, okay? So let's get into how you can replicate this yourself. Make sure that you got your notebook and all the things, because trust me, you are going to want to take all the notes. So what I want you to do is write down this on the top of your page. The goal is to establish your brand, diversify platforms, and expand your brand. The goal of social media, when we're talking about business, when we're talking about revenue, when we're talking about growing communities, when we're talking about impact, your goal is to establish your brand, diversify platforms, and expand your brand. So, how do I do this, Chanel? I'm glad that you asked. You first have to establish your brand. Okay. So, you're going to hear me say brand over and over and over and over again. So, let's talk about why your brand is important. Because if this is your first time here or your first time clicking on one of these videos where I am going in depth like this, it's important that I do my due diligence on letting you know why your brand is important and why I stress brand so much that it's in literally my name, the Brand Hustler. Okay. So your brand is the heartbeat to your business. I don't care what anybody says. Your business cannot survive without your brand. Can your brand survive without a business? Yes. That's how personal brands exist. That's how you have your favorite content creators. That's how you have lifestyle brands that sell absolutely nothing because they're not a business, but the brand thrives. However, businesses need brands to thrive. So your brand is the heartbeat to your business. Without it, your business will fall flat. Even if you see a little bit of success at the beginning due to luck or due to support from family and friends or whatever, you're going to realize that your business begins to flatline if you don't have a brand. Okay. So, what is a brand, and why am I saying that your business needs a brand when you probably thought it was the same thing? I got you. Your brand and business are two different things that happen to work together for the greater good. So, I want you to imagine a car, right? A really nice car, like this Bentley that you see on the screen. Your business is the stuff that you rarely ever see. It's the stuff that's under the hood that keeps things moving. So when you look under a car, that engine that you see, the stuff that holds the oil, the stuff that holds the coolant. I'm not really a car girl, so I don't know all the components, but all the stuff underneath the hood that can get a little gunky at times, but you got to keep it smooth so that it's well oiled and running. That is your business. Your business are things like your team, your processes, right? So, how you package orders or how you deliver something is a process. Systems and tools that you use. So, do you use Shopify for your website? Are you using OmniSend for your email marketing? Are you using Canva to design graphics? Those types of things are your business. Those are things on the back end that because you employ them, it allows your overall company to run smoothly. Your brand is what your audience sees, what they feel, what they experience, and what they hear. So when you hear the name Bentley, you immediately have some type of like memory or feeling about it, whether good or bad. When you see a Bentley, you automatically feel a type of way. If you got to test drive a Bentley, sit in it, rub the seats, turn the heated seats on, lay down the sunroof, drive it and hear how quiet it is and how smooth it goes over speed bumps. You get to experience that Bentley. And now your experience, you can tell to people time and time again. And your experience molds how you think about the brand. Okay. And so your brand does the attracting for your audience. Whereas your business keeps things running on the back end so that way you can make money. But without the people that your brand attracts, you don't have anybody to sell to, AKA, nobody gives you money. Does that make sense? So the engine can be all fly, it could be a V8, it could be the coolest thing since sliced bread. If the brand doesn't do the legwork of attracting and connecting with the audience, there's nothing to be sold because we got nobody to sell to. I hope that makes sense. So now that you know the difference between brand and business and you know why I am stressing brand, let's talk about the two things that you need to keep in mind before attempting to establish your brand on social media. These are crucial. Two things that you must know about your brand before trying to build a social media presence is you need to know your target audience, aka your bullseye, and you need to know your brand's story. Your brand is a multi-layered machine, okay? But I'm giving you the cheat code and I'm giving you a fast-paced way to social media success. So if you know your audience and you know your brand's story, you are ahead of the game, okay? So let's break down what each of these two are, just in case you need a little bit more help. Your target audience. This is going to be the group of people that are most likely to be interested in your products, and members of this group share common traits. That could be their age range, the fact that they have kids, the fact that they're women, the fact that they have hyperpigmentation, or the fact that they're struggling with their finances and need a financial planner. They're going to have certain traits in common. These traits can range from behaviors to psychological traits to demographics, geographics, the whole nine. The big mistake that I see people make with their target audience, period, but especially when it drills down to content, is you try to target everybody. Your content is for a specific person. If you know that person in your mind, you can speak directly to that person because you know what that person needs to hear. You know what they need to see. You know what will hook them in. So you can make better hooks. You can script your videos better. You can write better captions. You can take better photos. You can even show better angles of certain things simply because you understand your audience. When you target everyone, it means that you're selling to no one. So gone are the days where you think that targeting everybody means that you are going to make more money. No. If anything, you make less money because people are confused as to who it is that you're talking to. So you got to start off honing in on one specific type of person. So what I want you to imagine, if you struggle with this, I want you to imagine attempting to date somebody who was a different person every day. Wouldn't that be exhausting? That would be exhausting. It would be overwhelming. It would be draining. It would be annoying. I would not want to talk to that person again. That is how your audience feels when you switch up what you're saying on social media every day, when you switch up how you look on social media every day. And by how you look, I mean your brand. So your aesthetic. When you switch up your aesthetic on social media every day, when you switch up your messaging. So one day you're all calm, cool, and kumbaya. But then the next day you hype and you rowdy. And then the next day your messaging is bougie. I am confused. Who are we talking to? Who are these products for? Who is this content for? Like, hello? Like, I don't even know. And I'm supposed to be the person you're attracting. This is the crucial importance of your target audience. The second main thing that you need to keep in mind before attempting to establish your brand on social media is you need to know your brand's story. Your brand story can be written by defining and elaborating on what I call your PMV statements. These PMV statements stand for purpose, mission, and values. Each of these need to be elaborate statements that you have written out. Your purpose is the reason you exist and it's beyond making money. So if you started this business and you just keep saying, oh, okay, well, I just want to make some money, that is not a purpose. Your purpose should be deeper than that. Your mission is basically like the action that you are taking, the action plan that you are committed to working on every single day in order to achieve a bigger vision. And your values are basically the guiding principles of your brand. So if you value something like a high touch experience, then making sure that you showcase that in your content by providing behind the scenes, by making sure that you're responding to DMs and all the comments. You also want to show that you are caring in different ways. If you value something like, what's a good one? If you value, authenticity. being true and real about the ingredients in your products, how things are made, being your true self, having your model show up with no makeup. If that's a thing, like if you are a skincare or beauty brand in general. And if you value something like maybe uh, you value service and deep relationships, building that through your content. Okay. So, but your brand story pretty much is written with your purpose, your mission, and your values in mind. This helps you to form an overarching narrative that you can pull different content pieces from. And as I go deeper into today's video, you're going to see what I mean, right? But every brand has an overarching story. Every brand has an overarching theme. Okay. And if we want the actual legit name for it, it's called a story arc. And then you have an overarching theme. And then I like to say that you have the ability to pull miniature stories from this overarching story that you have. Okay. So if you don't know your purpose, mission, and values, stop and go figure it out. If you don't know your target audience, stop and go figure it out. Okay. And I have tools for you to be able to do this. One tool in particular is my 6-Figure Brand Masterclass. I'll leave the link in the description so that way you can check it out because I go so deep. It's over 2 hours. You get a workbook. I give you the formulas, the templates to build out your purpose, your mission, your values, and to define who your target audience is and the right target audience, the one who needs your product and the one that will actually pay you to get it. Okay. So if you've been struggling with either of these things or with just building a brand, period, the 6-Figure Brand Masterclass is gold, y'all. If you are loving this video so far, go tap into the 6-Figure Brand Masterclass. Okay. It is super affordable. It's less than $30. Grab it before it's taken down. Okay. So once you have your target audience and your brand story, this is when you can get into the next step. So once you have that down pack, then you can get into telling your brand story to your target audience. Do we see how the two connect together? I'm giving you the cheat code because branding is multi-layered. I like to say it has 7 different layers, and that's what I teach in the 6-Figure Brand Masterclass. But if you're talking about content and you want to get a fast track to establish and expanding your brand on social media, knowing your brand story and knowing your target audience, top 2. Because you tell your brand's story to your target audience. That is what your content is. It's really simple when you think about it. It's really simple when you think about it. But now I'm gonna put another ingredient into the recipe. You want to tell your brand story to your target audience through content. This is the key to expanding on social media. When you tell your brand story through content, you are able to expand on social media because people connect with you, they relate to you, and they find whatever it is that you're sharing authentic, trustworthy, or somewhat valuable to some degree. Whether that value is entertaining, educational, inspiring, aspirational, whatever. And so here is a testimonial that this stuff works. Obviously, you heard my story. But I have a testimonial on the screen from Ziano, who is a client turned friend, who was able to launch and sell over 100 products in about 2 months, thanks to her nailing down her target audience and thanks to her nailing down components of her brand and using that to tell certain stories through her content on social media. And when I say story, I don't mean that every piece of content you're like saying, okay, well, once upon a time I did this and I did that. And one time when I was 2 years old, I did this. No, there's a way to do it. Okay. There's a way to do it because you have different types of content, but your story, which you created because you know your audience and you know your PMVs, Your story allows you to pull certain themes of content, and that turns into content buckets, which you probably know as content pillars. I consider them content buckets because buckets are a little bit more fluid. And I actually talk about this in one of my recent videos on how I am becoming consistent after how you can become consistent after months of inconsistency. And I share what I did after a period of inconsistency, to brain dump a bunch of ideas. I'm talking about nearly 100 ideas. And in that video, towards the end, I talk about content buckets versus pillars. But you're able to pull content buckets from this that then fuel the different types of content that you need to create on social media. It doesn't matter if you're creating this content on Instagram. It doesn't matter if you're creating this on TikTok or if you're creating this on YouTube. The underlying concept is the same. However, when it comes to the specific platform and how the platforms rank your content, that is a slight tweak that you can literally just learn the algorithm, but the core of your content does not change. The way that you show up on the platform tweaks slightly to basically bend to their algorithm, but what you're saying doesn't change. How you're saying it typically doesn't change, and who you're talking to does not change. Okay? So, when you have this brand story that you're telling through content to expand on social media, like I said, it's not Dare John, I was like you 2 years ago. When I was two, I experienced this. You don't have to go through this like deep story all of the time, because that's where types of content comes in. Okay. There are three specific types of content that you use to establish and expand your brand on social media. Now, are these the only types of content that exist in the world? No. But these are the three proven types of content that I have used time and time again, that my clients have used time and time again to establish their brands on social media quickly and expand their brand on social media. Okay? I did this with my newest product brand last year. And even though we gained about 300 followers in like 2 or 3 weeks, which, I mean, I said even though because to me it's a little bit. Even though we did that, we made $1,000 in 3 hours, and we were on our track to make our first six figures in the year if I didn't pause my business due to me taking a step back, right? So I know it works. I know it works in today's day and age, more specifically. And I am still using these three types of content today, like right now, with the Brand Hustler as well, and with all of my client brands. Wait. Before we get into the three types of content, I gotta ask you a couple of questions. One, do you know exactly who you're speaking to? Two, do you know exactly how to make them convert? And three, do you know what makes your brand different? If the answer to any of those was I don't know or no, then you need my six-figure brand masterclass. I put together a 2-hour masterclass to teach you these 7 crucial components that every profitable brand has. I'm talking big brands like Nike and small brands that just hit their first 6 figures. They all have this in common. And I am teaching you these 7 components, giving you the plug and play frameworks so that way you can finally build your 6-figure brand. It is only $27, and just for watching this video right here, if you get it within the next 24 hours and use the code YouTube, you'll get a little secret discount on top of that 27. So don't hesitate. I know this is your moment. This is your time to finally build the 6-figure brand that you have been dreaming of. Let's get it. Let's get into the 3 types of content. The first type of content that you want to use to establish and expand your brand is going to be connection content. Connection content is the content that shares your brand story and builds trust with your audience. Where you want to pull this connection content from is the whys within your stories, the accomplishments within your stories, the behind the scenes within your current journey as either an entrepreneur or as a person who has overcome the struggle that your product helps with, or as a person who is overcoming the struggle that your product helps with, or as a person who is helping others overcome that struggle. BTS of all of it, BTS of creating your product, BTS of building your brand, like all these things can be connection content if done correctly. And so connection content actually pulls from your purpose, because remember, your purpose goes deeper than just making money. So if your purpose is to help women around the world feel beautiful in their skin again, I can create connection content that shares maybe like a narrated reel of me getting ready in the morning and doing my skincare routine. And I'm talking about a time when I didn't feel beautiful, or a time when, maybe my daughter, I don't have a daughter yet, but maybe my daughter or somebody I knows came to me and said like they didn't feel beautiful and what I had to tell them. And I'm narrating it, and I'm putting on the skincare products that I sell at the same time in the video. So you're connecting to the story that I'm telling, but I'm selling the product. Okay. And before I go deeper, these three types of content work whether you're the one in front of the camera or whether it's somebody else. I want to make sure that I clarify that. Because if you decide to not be the face of your brand and you hire somebody else to do it like a model, the three types of content are still the same. They still need to create this type of content. You're just literally switching out the face. The stories are the same. All the things are the same. The audience is the same. All the things are the same. Messaging, everything. Same thing for if you decide to use UGC or influencers. When you're hiring influencers, you want to make sure that you are giving them a campaign brief about whatever the goal and theme is of what it is you're trying to do. And you also need to make sure that within that campaign brief, you have your brand's guidelines and audience and messaging and all of that. So that way they are on brand when they create this content. You want to do something similar for UGC creators, but UGC creators are a little bit more, like, for a lack of better words, um, I guess palatable is what I'm trying to say. They're a little bit more flexible because you're not paying them for influence. You're paying them for the content so you can use their content and post it on your platform. Um, and that means you can get them to create connection content. You can get them to create these other two types of content I'm going to share with you in a few minutes. And it works the same way. So, moral of the story, whether you're the face or not, the three types of content work, because I know that somebody is watching this. It's probably you, and you're thinking that. So, how do you create connection content? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about your why behind your brand. Think about the why behind your products. Why did you choose to start this particular business? Also, think about the emotions behind buying a product like yours. Then I want you to ask yourself, how do I currently relate to my audience? Or how did I relate to my audience in the past? And how can I shed light on my journey and showcase the passion that I have for these products, for the transformation, for the people that I help? These are the questions you want to ask yourself, and those questions turn into brain dumps for content pieces like what's on the right hand side, where you can create a narrative video of how your passion for fashion developed. So let's say you own a fashion boutique or clothing boutique or something fat in the fashion realm. You can create a narrative video of how you've been fashionable since you were a child, and you can put in that video clips of you maybe wearing your mom's heels, you putting on different hats and different jewelry that was too big for you, but you were trying to match and look in front of the mirror. And then, as you get older, you can show what that looks like how you used to style your uniform when you were in middle school, how you did it in high school, exploring your fashion in college and what you look like now. And as you're going through those videos or those pictures and videos, you're literally narrating how your passion for fashion developed. and you're sharing basically the why behind it. And people can connect with you because somebody watching will say, oh my gosh, I used to wear my mom's heels and I love fashion as well. And I knew this is why I connected with this brand so much. Another example is you can create a time lapse reel or TikTok of your skincare journey with details in the caption. So if you used to struggle with hyperpigmentation and you have before and after pictures, or not before and after pictures, but progress pictures, maybe your skin cleared up within 6 months and you took a progress picture every month, you can share that in the form of a reel. I would much rather you do videos in the form of a reel. If it's pictures, do it in a carousel format. But share your skincare journey, and then in the details, you get a little bit more transparent and vulnerable, especially if transparency or rawness and authenticity is something that you value for your brand. The last example, and I actually know someone who did this, you can give a tour of your candle making lab, highlighting your signature ingredients. So if you make candles and different home scents, you can literally create connection content by walking through and showing them different things in your candle making lab and telling them why you love the scent of mango because it reminds you of your grandmother waking up on Saturday mornings, on the island that you grew up on, yada, 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 right? So for me, if I had a seafood company one day, I would probably tell the story about how my grandpa used to catch these blue crabs and my grandma used to cook them and feed me these crabs on the porch in Antigua. Okay. That's a story I would tell to create connection content because somebody is going to relate to that, or somebody is going to find a deep emotional resonance with it. And that allows them to connect with your brand and want to lock in and take the next step with your brand. The second type of content is going to be solution content. This is possibly the easiest to create, especially if you are an expert in some sort of way. So, if you're a service provider who is starting a product line, or if you're a service provider who already has products and you want to take your product seriously and build a product brand, this is where you're going to shine, or this is where you should shine because this leans on expertise. So, solution content is content that solves a problem and shows them that your product is the answer. So, this is where you can share quick tips, how to's, transformations, and how the transformation came about. This is where you can call out misconceptions, issues with the way that people are thinking, all the things. And you can pull this from your mission and your problem and solution analysis. Okay. So, how do you come up with solution content? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to jot down a list of quick wins or quick hacks that you can share with your ideal persona. So, your target audience, your ideal person that you're selling to. If somebody came to you with the problem that your product solves and they asked you for a cheat code, what would you tell them? Then I want you to create routines or processes with your products that are consumer facing. What do I mean by this? If I have hair care products, create hair care routines for the morning, for the nighttime, for the wintertime, for the summertime. If I had skincare products, same thing. If I had clothes, you can create routines. Get ready with me. If my clothes can be worn for a date night, get ready with me for date night. If my clothes can be worn to brunch, get ready with me for brunch. If my clothes can be worn to church, get ready with me for church. Routines and processes help enlighten people on how they can make their routines and processes better, which is the solution. The third thing I want you to do is jot down a list of misconceptions or questions that your audience has surrounding your product or the industry that you are in. And the last thing that you want to do is jot down your audience's pain points and then the solution to those pain points. And pain points, will be here for another hour if I dove deep into pain points, because this is one of the things that I go deep in the Six Figure Brand Masterclass when I talk about audience. I talk about pain points and I give you a full formula that you could plug and play to build out your ideal customer and find them and all the things. So if audience pain points sounds confusing to you or you are stuck, trust me, just get the Six Figure Brand Masterclass. Okay. I promise you it's fire. All right. So let's talk through some examples for solution content. On Instagram, carousels work amazing for solution content, but reels work too. On YouTube, any video you create, long or short form, works for this. TikTok, same thing. So if I had a hair care company, I can create a carousel sharing 5 tips for healthy hair. Tip 1, tip 2, tip 3, tip 4, tip 5, literally like that. Um, I could also create, if I had a skincare product or a skincare brand, I could create a reel or a YouTube video that showcases my nighttime skincare routine. And if I'm doing it for a YouTube video and it's going to be longer, like 10 minutes long, obviously I can share more details, slow down, show how I'm working the products into my face. In a reel, it's going to be a little bit faster and we need to cut it a little bit more so that way it's under 90 seconds. Okay. Um, then the last example is you can have myth busting common misconceptions about waist trainers. So maybe you sell shapewear. You can share this in a talking head video. You can share this in a carousel. You can do this via a live video on any platform. And you can share some common misconceptions that people have about waist trainers and tell them why they're wrong and how your waist trainers will actually help them solve the problem they have. And last but not least, the third type of content is what I call realtainment content. Now, this is something that I completely made up the name for. So if you try to Google it, I don't know if it'll actually come up with an answer, but in the world of AI, they probably will piece together an answer. But realtainment content is basically combining reality with entertainment. So Realtainment content combines lifestyle and entertaining elements. This helps to humanize your brand a ton because it shows aspects of yourself, your team, or your customers that otherwise wouldn't be shown at this level. And in addition to that, this type of content ties into your audience's feelings and is highly relatable. You know, those reels or those TikToks that you are cackling at and you send to like 10 of your friends because it's you, like it relates to you, or maybe it's a friend that you can say, oh, this is you, girl. That's the vibe of realtainment content. And so, because of that, it helps to keep your brand on trend. You don't need to do realtainment content 100% of the time, um, but it is a great kind of like less stress type of way to create content, especially if you're naturally funny, you're naturally entertaining, you're naturally dramatic. This is going to be your lane. This you could get in your bag with this, okay? So how do you create realtainment content? Well, you want to incorporate pieces of your life or the reality of your audience and your personality in a way that resonates with your audience. So think about your audience's emotions and their lifestyles. You also want to ask yourself, how can you be relatable and inspirational to the point where it's entertaining? A skit of some sort is what you can do here, even if it's lip syncing at first. And then third, you can also play up on recent world events and moments that your audience recognizes. Now, this, I am good for lip sync. If you go on my Instagram or if you go on my TikTok to the very early videos, I was busting it down to busting it down sounds crazy, but I was dancing to different songs. I was lip syncing. I was doing the whole thing. That was realtainment content. I even have a video that came across my feed recently of myself where it was a Soldier Boy song that was trending at the time, and I did a whole skit to it. And I didn't even say a word. I basically lip synced and then acted out things. So don't be nervous if you're like, oh, I'm not good with remembering lines or whatever. You don't have to be. You can absolutely do it. So go on my Instagram and scroll down, Go on my TikTok and scroll down and you'll see it. And honestly, I'm bringing that back. So if you follow me and you lock in, you're going to see that stuff again, because I'm going to start doing that again because it's just so fun to create. So, in addition to like doing reenactments and skits and things like that, here are three additional ideas that I'm going to give you as an example. So, let's say you have an accessories brand and um, Chris Brown is on tour right now for the Breezy Bowl. And he's doing a lot of his old hits and he's bringing out people that he's collabed with over the years. And so maybe you want to do a flashback photo or video of you wearing bamboo earrings at a Chris Brown concert you went to in 2009. And then in your caption, you're talking about how nostalgic it is. And you're talking about Jordan Sparks and Chris Brown's collaboration and how No Air is still one of your favorite songs. And you hope that he brings her out, at the tour stop at ATL. And why you did that flashback with that photo or video of you wearing bamboo earrings is because you have that on your site. And so you can then um, even position it as a nostalgic collection and point people to that product on your site as a result of doing this. It's really cool and fun. The second idea is, let's say you had beauty products. You can do a get ready with me using your beauty products, and you can seamlessly integrate your products into this get ready with me, but you make it fun by maybe sharing your inner thoughts as you're getting ready, maybe sharing a funny story time, something like that. The third example could be the day in a life. So maybe you have some type of self care product, candles, bath products, whatever, and your audience are moms. You can do a day in the life mom edition or self care as a mom or something like that. And you take them throughout your day in a very entertaining way. So that way, people are connecting with you at the same time they're being entertained with you, okay, or by you. So that's realtainment content. So the three types of content, once again: connection content, solution content, realtainment content. You can do an even split of these. You can do uh 50, 20, 30. It's whatever it is that you want to do based on your brand. And it goes back to knowing your PMV statements and knowing your audience. What would your audience want to see more of? And as a brand who is building a certain experience and is developing a certain positioning in your industry, what would you need to put out more of? Okay. So I want to leave you with some do's and don'ts. Hopefully, by this point, you have gotten a ton of page of notes. And if you do, please take a picture of it and tag me on your Instagram story so I can see it and I can like it and respond to you, or even repost it. So please let me see, because it helps me see that these types of videos help you, because typically I don't want to do these videos because I know they're going to be super long and I know that they're kind of like teachy style. This is the type of stuff that I get to share with my bomb CEOs each and every week. We uncover strategies together, we do challenges together. I even show them behind the scenes of me working on my brands and what went right and what went wrong. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can go to Bomb CEO and see if we're open. It's typically private. So if I'm inviting you on this video, it means that it's possibly open at this very time. So if you go there and it's open, definitely join, because I do not open it up and it is no longer a public mentorship. But like I said, even if you don't get Bomb CEO, check out the Six Figure Brand Masterclass. Lock in with me on this channel by hitting subscribe, because you are going to be able to grow a brand that blows your mind once you join the Hustle Babe community. But a few do's and don'ts when it comes to establishing and expanding your brand. Number one, do not get copycat syndrome. Here's what I mean. Your brand should have a unique edge. And if you don't know what it is, figure it out by locking in with me, okay? You don't want to copy what another brand is doing just for the sake of copying. What another brand is doing well doesn't mean that it'll work well for you. Second, don't compromise your brand. Always merge your brand's voice, tone, and personality with creativity to create something powerful on each platform. The platforms change, but your voice, tone, and personality and who you're talking to technically doesn't. And then please remain consistent. Take it from me. You must show up to successfully establish a brand. You must show up to successfully expand a brand. So create systems that work for you and commit to them. I linked some videos earlier in this video, but they'll also be in the description box where I shared how I got consistent with content again and how I came up with a bunch of ideas. And I'm also linking a video on how to be creative, how to take your basic content ideas and make them creative. And those two videos alone will help you remain consistent. And last but not least, please take it one at a time. Doing too much at once may lead to overwhelm and early burnout. So set goals for each platform and expand to new platforms as you hit those goals. Remember, I started off on Instagram, went to YouTube, and then went to TikTok. Figure out where your audience is at the most and start there. And with that being said, if you are not locked in with me, hit the subscribe button. Head over to Instagram and find me at The Brand Hustler. You can also find me on TikTok, but I'm not on TikTok at the moment, but still follow me over there and see some of my old stuff. But really lock in with me on YouTube and Instagram because it's going to get even better. And you want to make sure that you locked in and you're a part of the Hustle Babe community before it's too late. Okay. So just hop on in. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Make sure that you give this video a thumbs up, comment your biggest takeaway, and share this with somebody you know it can help. And if you need to watch it again, replay it. Okay. But liking this video and commenting allows YouTube to see that you love it, but it also allows YouTube to see that I'm back. And so signaling that to YouTube allows me to create more juicy videos like this. So please, it's free to like and comment. It's also free to share. I appreciate every single one of your likes, every single one of your comments, and every single one of your shares, even if I don't see them. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, Hustle Babe.